Today we are going to be looking at personal data encryption. This new Windows security feature was introduced by Microsoft at Ignite 2024. The sole purpose of personal data encryption, or PDE, is to prevent other people from accessing a user's personal data stored locally on a device. Normally, a user with admin rights could access personal user data that is residing in any local user profile on a Windows device. But with PDE, those files become inaccessible to anyone unless they have the file owner's permission or login credentials. PDE protects your files by tying encryption directly to your user session, making them completely inaccessible to anyone else who uses or might remotely access your device, whether that be local administrators, legacy domain administrators, or enter-join device or global administrators. Some important things to note: in order to use PDE, you will need to be using Windows 11 Enterprise or Education. It currently does not work with Windows 11 Pro. You need Windows Hello for Business enabled for your tenant, and your devices need to be enter-joined. PDE will encrypt files within the known folder areas of desktop documents and pictures. So let's take a quick look at the current behavior for someone with admin rights and how they can browse through other user profiles, and then we can create and apply a new personal data encryption policy. So for the purpose of this demo, I will be using ABR's Secure Remote Access tool and using unattended access to connect to my test device. The scenario would be exactly the same if you were to use RDP, VNC, or the myriad of other tools on the market which provide remote access. So if I go over to my inventory, select my test device, click remote, enter my password, do a quick approval from my phone for MFA, and then select the credentials I want to connect with. So the primary user of this device is someone called Paul. I'm connecting to the device unattended. Paul isn't around. I have full admin rights, so now I can browse around and I can have a look in Paul's user profile. He's using OneDrive, so I can see the OneDrive area. So if I browse within that, I can go to Paul's desktop. And I can click on a text file for demonstration purposes and see what lives within it. This would be true for any area within this profile. I could look at documents. Again, read anything that sits in there, which is Paul's own personal data. So let's see what we can do about that by creating and applying a PDE policy. So to create and apply the PDE policy, let's move over to the Intune portal. So the setting can be found under Endpoint Security and Disk Encryption. So click Create Policy, select Windows as a platform, and select Personal Data Encryption. Click Create, give the policy a name. Click Next. The settings are relatively simple. Just turn them on and select Enabled for each of the 3 known folders. Click Next. Scope tags, if you're using them, are set here. As usual, can be applied for specific groups or all users or all devices. I'll leave that blank for now. We'll click Next and click Create. I've already created and assigned a previous policy for quickness. So if we pop over to my other test device, we can see that the user pool is logged into this device. User pool, and you notice there's a little lock on the icons of all the items on the desktop. Similarly in documents, the tiny little lock on the icon, and it will be the same in pictures. So if we sign out of this device as pool, and we'll reconnect as an administrator with secure remote access. Just do the MFA approval. And this time I'll connect as an administrator. If I can find it, there we go. So we're clicking back to the same device as a full administrator. If I now open up Explorer, go to the user profile section, click on pool, I can get access to the profile, again to the OneDrive area, to the desktop. Now if I click on the text file, I'll get a pop-up saying that I do not have access to see that file. So now we know that the PDE policy has applied, and myself as administrator connecting to the device no longer have access to see Paul's files, which I think is a really good feature. Again, if I go to the documents area and double click on a text file that is within that area, I can't access. So there we go, we have a PDE policy created and applied to a device, and we can see the end result. So I think you would agree that Microsoft's Personal Data Encryption feature is a really useful addition to your security toolset. But if you are unable to implement this feature in your environment, what else could you be doing to mitigate the risk to personal data? So during the prior demos, I was using Admin by Request Secure Remote Access tool. This has many layers of security in terms of who has remote access to your environment, and is backed by full session recording if you need to evaluate any activities from a session. The ABR Endpoint Privilege Management tool can be used to revoke full admin rights across your organization and be given back in a controlled fashion to those who need it, backed with full auditing of elevated activity. It's really important to know each of the different personas within your organization and give them just enough admin to carry out their role effectively. Via the ABR EPM tool, you can also limit access to system files, command line, PowerShell, terminal, etc., which will keep you more secure. Using the ABR EPM tool, you can revoke full admin rights from your IT support teams and again give back just enough admin rights to be secure but productive. Ultimately, you need to balance just enough admin rights with just enough trust in your IT support teams. From my personal experience with shared devices, I configured Intune to regularly clean up stale user profiles, primarily to save disk space, but it's good basic housekeeping. So there we have an overview of personal data encryption and how it could be a really useful addition to your own environment, and how it can be used alongside the Admin by Request toolset to make your environment even more secure. Please like and subscribe, and thanks again for watching.